Rod, you're here to tell the travel professionals that St. Lucia is more than Pitons, but I cannot get Pitons out of my head. It is what I associate with the island. It is what makes me think of the beautiful, luscious views of that incredible paradise that you represent.
That is correct. It's one of the many things, but more the iconic one that makes us so unique. I think everybody, when they think about St. Lucia, the Pitons is the first image that comes to mind. It is actually part of our logo. As we have back here, you can see it there. But it definitely is one of the many things that will inspire you in St. Lucia, for sure.
That's right, because your tagline is, let her inspire you. So let's talk to the travel professionals about how St. Lucia can inspire them to sell the island to their clients.
Certainly. So first things first, as you mentioned, it's let her inspire you, and that is because St. Lucia is the only country named after a woman. So it's something we're really happy and proud of. People seem to like to relate to that as well.
Especially with the Pitons.
Exactly. I've heard that
Just
as well.
saying.
Yes, yeah. So many of the things travel professionals obviously can relate and educate themselves in regards to how St. Lucia can inspire them and their guests, is we have many things in place for them. And by things in place for them, I mean we have our Selects program, which is St. Lucia Expert Program, which is available for them to take and educate themselves. In that, they will learn all about different things like wellness, the romance aspect, which is huge right now. You may have heard St. Lucia was just named the top honeymoon destination in the world for 2018 by the World Travel.
Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you very much. Something we're very proud of and happy of. But there's many things that guests will be able to enjoy in St. Lucia, everything from the culinary aspect, the food, not your traditional sun, sea, and sand destination. And that's something I think that we bank on, and we find that our guests do enjoy and appreciate a lot.
Now, there are some all-inclusives, obviously. You have a mixture. You have the all-inclusives, the EPs, the guest houses, the villas. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Correct. So, of course, there are some all-inclusives available there. Sandals, at this point, has 3 properties. They're currently building a 4th one. There, of course, is Royalton and Hideaway at Royalton. Coconut Bay, which is a great property, great for families, but they also have Serenity at Coconut Bay, which is an adults-only newer property. It's just a little over a year old. And then you also have many villas and properties that cater to that aspect. So you can have a chef come in, a local chef, and you can have somebody come in and clean. So you sort of have that feel of being taken care of while you're there, but you also have the exclusivity of being in a villa. There's many companies that will do that. Hosted Villas is one available here in Canada, I know, that represents 17 different villas on the island. And then you have lots of properties as well that perhaps up front will not necessarily scream out all-inclusive. However, it is an option that can be added if people want to. The reason for that is also it ties in with what we want people to feel inspired in the sense of going out, tasting the culinary, different foods and things like that, because St. Lucia does have lots of that option available.
Let me ask you one of the more difficult questions. I think for a lot of people, there's an association or a thought process that St. Lucia would potentially be more expensive because it is considered perhaps a more luxurious type of destination. So when travel professionals are dealing with their clients who just want to get away, think of cheap and cheerful, ITC packages, how do they then suggest, why don't you try something different this year, because it doesn't have to be expensive?
Correct. So interesting you should mention that, because one of the properties that's come up a lot in the radar lately when it comes to cost is the old Papillon by Rex, which is now, of course, Starfish in St. Lucia. And it has had some very good price points coming up over the last little while. And I've been telling agents, do the comparison. If you compare, shall we call apples to apples, with some other islands, and you see the cost that it brings. Yes, it is a 4-star. It is going to be all-inclusive. It's going to be located right in Rodney Bay. And the savings you're going to have there are going to allow you to go out and explore the island and then go and eat out, because it's, like I said, steps away from the restaurants, pubs, right in Rodney Bay. However, at the same time, there are other properties that, if the cost is going to be an issue, that they can accommodate. Places like Bay Gardens, some of them where you can get not a full all-inclusive, but almost all-inclusive. So there are different options. And then, of course, when you start getting and talking about a larger group, we go back to the villa conversation, because many times costs associated there can diminish quite significantly when you have lots of people sharing a villa or something like that.
And now when you talk about going off property, I think one of the things that makes it easy to do that is the safety aspect, correct?
Yes. And that's something we're very happy of. In regards to St. Lucia, it's a very safe destination. You can go out, and we encourage our guests and travelers to go out and experience, mingle with the locals. Many times your taxi driver from the airport ends up being your tour guide. He'll tell you the ins and outs and tell you where the hot spots are for buying local bread or
Right.
stopping for a beer on the way from the airport. So it's
Nice.
always great to do that. But again, we encourage our travelers and guests to go out and experience it through essence of the island itself, and that way be inspired.
Inspiration. Love it. Thank you so much for bringing us up to speed
Thank you.
on St. Lucia.
Appreciate it.
And with all the lift that you now have, I imagine it's going to be a good year.
We're hoping. Thank you very much.